Good evening and welcome to the Candidates Forum presented and produced by the League of Women Voters of Northwest Wayne County. My name is Paula Bowman and I'm the co-president of the League of Women Voters of Michigan. I'm also the moderator for this event tonight, and I'm also a member of the Northwest Wayne County League. Tonight, we welcome the candidates running for Canton Township Trustees. August 6th is the primary election. A voter must choose to either vote the Republican ballot or the Democratic ballot. Crossing over is not allowed. It is allowed in the November election, but not in the August primary. There are 11 candidates running in the primary election for the Canton Board of Trustees, 6 Democrats and 5 Republicans. 4 candidates from each party will advance to the November general election to fill 4 vacant seats. We have noted an R for Republican and a D for Democrat in back of all of the candidates' names who are here tonight to help you make your choice clearer. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan political organization. We do not support or oppose any candidate or party, but the League does take positions on issues after study. So you may see our name attached sometimes to an issue that we are opposing or advocating for. The League of Women Voters is where hands-on work to safeguard democracy leads to civic improvement. Membership is open to anyone who is at least 16 years old, and you can join through our website. The League's main mission is to promote political responsibility through informed and active participation in government. One of the ways we do that is by having forums like this one tonight. The League also provides a nonpartisan voter guide, which can be found online at vote411.org. I should mention that that goes live, I think, on Friday of this week. So by the 28th of June, you should be able to access that. You simply type in your address and your ballot will pull up after you follow the prompts. Only League personnel and the candidates are present at this forum. We did solicit questions from the public in advance so that we could ask them at tonight's event. Questions were screened for clarity, and those which included personal attacks on a candidate were eliminated. All qualified candidates were invited, and 7 are participating in tonight's forum. All the candidates have agreed to the format for tonight's forum, which is as follows. Each candidate is allowed a 1-minute opening statement, a 1-minute response to questions, and a 1-minute closing statement. The order that the candidates speak was determined by a random selection process witnessed by the candidates before the recording of this forum began. We will rotate the order of the candidate who responds to a question first. League member Valerie Nelson produced this forum tonight, and she is also our timer. She'll be holding up cards so that the candidates know when their time is up. The candidate must stop when the stop sign appears. We're also grateful to Tony Jones, who helped arrange for this event. And now we'll go ahead and get started with our forum. And Ms. Ganguly, we're going to start with you.
Do I start?
Yes, go ahead and start with your opening statement, please.
Hello, I am Tanya Ganguly, and I have lived in Canton for the past 20 years. During this time, I've volunteered with many organizations, including being the president of a local nonprofit, working with the Detroit Indian Women's Association, and I've been a township trustee for the last 4 years. I have 15 years of experience of managing finance at a government agency, and I have been a strong advocate for Canton for advocating for infrastructure funding by working with our state and federal counterparts. In our diverse community, I have worked with our leisure services to implement many programs that represent Canton, including the Festival of Lights. If I'm re-elected as a trustee, I would like to work to make our government more responsive by increasing communication with our residents, work on the public health of the community by expanding green spaces, sidewalks, and Summit on the Park, and work on welcoming more locally owned businesses to make Canton a regional destination in Southeast Michigan. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Gronke, your opening statement, please.
And good evening, everyone. My name is Jeff Gronke, and I have been a resident of Canton for over 23 years. I currently own my own business, which is called the Thunder Bay Group. I'm a business consulting firm. I have been a member of the Canton Chamber of Commerce for off and on most of those 23 years. I now sit on the board of the chamber, and I will be the chair-elect for next year. I'm also part of the Canton Connection Group, which is a group of local business owners meeting on a weekly basis to talk about issues in the Canton community. The reason for me being in here and running for office is to be a more viable part of our community and utilizing a lot of the skill set that we have in dealing with helping businesses become better and in getting the business to run well. Canton is a very large business, and that is the goal for all of us, is to make Canton a better community to be in, a more inclusive community, and a growing community and attracting more businesses. And once again, my name is Jeff Gronke.
Thank you. Ms. Ansari, your opening statement?
Hello there, everyone. Good evening. My name is Amara Ansari, and I'm running for Canton Township Trustee. I have lived in Canton for the last 8 years, and I've been doing community organizing work here in Canton. I have been bridging the gap between our residents and our elected officials by hosting office hours or community coffee hours. And I've been working in nonprofit spaces that deal with how to bring racial equity and DEI initiatives to local government. I've also worked in philanthropy, other nonprofit spaces, and have worked on campaigns for the last 8 years. And if I'm elected, I'm really looking forward to working with our current elected officials to bring sustainability and address climate change issues within our community, to bridge the gap between our communities and local government so that people are aware of the resources that they can have access to from our local government, and also to improve on infrastructure.
Thank you. Mr. Jaffrey, your opening statement, you need to unmute.
Hi, my name is Irfan Jaffrey. I've been a Canton resident for about 25 years now. I'm a husband, a father. I've got 3 daughters, a son. I have some military experience. I've been a civil servant at the city of Detroit for 13 years. My experience is a little bit of a homeowner association president. I'm a small business owner in Canton. I'm a member of the tax review board and the master plan committee for Canton Township. I currently work at the University of Michigan hospital in the emergency department. I'm a member of the DEI committee, the recycling committee, and my main concerns here with Canton are, I believe that 80 to 90% of our recycling goes to the dump. I want to make Canton more walk friendly, with more connected sidewalks to interesting destinations in the township, EV chargers, some police education, and citywide Wi-Fi. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Harris, your opening statement.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to be here and tell the community who I am and why I hope to serve as trustee. My name is Dave Harris. I've had the pleasure of serving as the Canton Community Production Supervisor for the past 27 years. I'm the president and one of the founding members of the Canton Nature Society. I'm a husband and father of 3 children whom all attend Canton schools. My wife was born and raised in Canton to a large extended Canton family, so I have a lot of ties here. And I've had the incredible opportunity as a longtime employee of the township to be part of the growth and positive change that has been through. Being the only candidate, past or present, who has ever served as an employee, I have extensive knowledge of the inner workings of all the township departments and understand the unique needs of such a diverse community. I believe my 27 years of experience with local government puts me at great advantage to best serve the wonderful residents of Canton and continue to do the great things that we've already been doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Grable.
Hey everyone, I'm Tyler Grable. I'm a 29-year-old Canton resident of 3 years. I have a wife and a son. I served in the military for 8.5 years in the United States Marine Corps. I'm currently on the HOA board, and I'm also on the steering committee for my company's ERG for veterans. I have my master's degree, my MBA from North Carolina, and also have a bachelor's in finance from Southern New Hampshire University. I'm excited to be running for Canton Trustee because I feel like I have a lot to bring to the township. I am the youngest one running for Canton Trustee, and I'm also noticeably the one who's lived in Canton the least. I think my outside diversity views, I have been in 4 different countries. So I've lived in multiple different states. I bring a lot of experience, and I know how to lead diverse organizations. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Foster, your opening statement.
Good evening. 20 years ago, I decided to call Canton Township home. I care about this community, our neighbors, and our future. I've served as trustee for the last 8 years because I want Canton to be all that it can be for my family and yours. I'm a mom, a nonprofit executive director, former vice chair of the Canton Library Board, and the board chair of Planned Parenthood. I serve on the Planning Commission, the Roads Advisory Committee, the Boards and Commissions Interview Committee, and the Police Social Worker Ad Hoc Committee. My top priorities include building high-quality infrastructure, promoting sustainability, and investing in public safety. I believe in the power of collaboration and the strength that comes from diverse perspectives. Whether it's improving roads, reducing public safety response times, or expanding community programs, I will prioritize initiatives that make a real difference in our lives. I want Canton to be a place where everyone feels proud to live, work, and thrive. And my name is Summer Foster.
Thank you, Ms. Foster. So we'll start with our first question, again with Ms. Ganguly, and you've all covered this a little bit in your opening statement, but this is a chance for you to expand. Please provide any biographical information and experience which you feel qualifies you for the position of a Canton Township trustee. Ms. Ganguly?
I have worked I work currently in a government agency, and I work in the managing the finances of the government agency. So I have quite a diverse experience of how to manage budgets. And this brings me to the forefront of understanding the budgets that we handle and how to invest them soundly. I have worked as a volunteer in many organizations. I have worked as a volunteer with my daughter's school. I have worked with lots of nonprofits in this area, and that gives me a perspective of how to of a voice from the community, understanding the voice of the community. And I also think that I also come from being a homeowner in this community. I understand the needs of the homeowners here and what they're talking about. And that makes me a viable candidate and one of best suited for representing Canton as a township trustee.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Gronke?
Yes, good afternoon. One of the things that I wanted to express when looking at qualities to be a trustee position is the background I have in operations of businesses and helping them run better. That's what Thunder Bay Group is about. We're a group of consultants that handle issues with governments, or actually with small businesses and larger businesses, to make them more efficient, make them run smoother, make them transition, if that's the case may be, to the next generation, and being able to understand the problems of not only the small business, but even a larger business such as the Township of Canton, and being able to offer solid, financially responsible decisions for them.
Thank you. Ms. Ansari?
Thanks for the question. So I have a degree in public policy. I got my master's in public policy from the University of Michigan, go Blue. And so have a thorough understanding of what it looks like to work with systems, to improve systems and processes in our institutions. I'm also currently the development director at a nonprofit in Detroit. And so I'm really invested in figuring out what it would take to bring more dollars into our community, find more investment so that our residents can thrive. Also, as a child of immigrants And as we've seen the demographics of Canton change, I'm really invested in seeing how we can bring new voices to our township and what that could mean to bring fresh perspectives. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Jaffrey, unmute, please.
Hi, again, my name's Syed Irfan Jaffrey. As I said before, I've been a civil servant for the city of Detroit IT department. We were involved extensively in budgeting, planning, requests for proposals. I've also been a small business owner in Canton, and I know what the problems are with small businesses and large businesses with waste, fraud, and abuse. I have a bachelor's degree in accounting, a master's degree in IT, and I'm currently in nursing school. Again, some of my big priorities are recycling and EVs and EV chargers in the township. Thank you.
Thanks. Mr. Harris?
Thank you. I believe the main reason people should vote for me and why I'm running is my 27 years of experience within every department. As the Canton Community Production Supervisor, I've worked with the police and fire extensively, finance, MSD, including working with the businesses in Canton, doing promotional things for them. So I know exactly what it takes to make Canton run, and the job that the boards have been doing. I've worked with 4 different supervisors now, and a conglomeration of different boards, all of which I've been able to get along with and still push through the things we need to do. And I just think with my experience, I can hit the ground running, and that's what Canton needs right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Grable?
Yeah, thanks for the question. That's a great question. My experience is diverse. Just like I said before, I'm in my HOA board. I'm a homeowner in Canton as well. I'm on my ERG steering committee for my company. I also deal with $100 million budgets at both companies that I work for, at both companies that I have worked for. I have my MBA from North Carolina, so I know how to run businesses. And I'm also uniquely positioned to be the youngest one here with a family. The services in Canton that are provided, my family uses. We go to the splash pad, we go to the parks, we go to the Canton Rec Center. We see how these are ran. I know how we can improve them. I've lived in multiple different areas. I've seen what's worked in different states and different towns, and I could bring that experience to Canton.
Thank you. Ms. Foster?
So I have 12 years experience managing municipal budgets, both with the Canton Township Board and with the Canton Library Board. I have almost 20 years of experience in public policy. I've been a nonprofit executive director, a legislative advocate, and a community organizer. I oversee a multi-million-dollar budget with the organization that I run. I played a pivotal role in establishing the Police Transparency and Guidance Subcommittee, as well as the Boards and Commissions Interview Committee. I am dedicated to promoting civic engagement and social justice within the township, and I am also on the Planning Commission, the Master Plan Advisory Committee, the Roads Advisory Committee, the DDA Ford Road Boulevard Subcommittee, and I have lived in this community for 20 years. I've raised my son in this community, and we have been very active members of the community.
Thank you. Mr. Gronke, we'll start this next question with you. What do you feel are the priority issues facing the township, and what actions would you take to address them?
I think first and foremost right now is, and I've attended a number of the meetings the township has held over this last year, and watching some of the things that are approved and gone through and wondering how they all fit into the budget. Because sometimes they just seem like there's a lot of money going out and challenges with where it should be. So I'd like to really delve into that and look and understand that budget and make sure that our taxpayers' money is being used wisely. And really that's a big part of it, is being fiscally responsible and having a transparency so that the residents know exactly what is going on, where their dollars are being spent.
Thank you. Ms. Ansari?
So for me, I think one of the most important issues that our community faces is the threat to climate change. that we have from climate change. You see floodings that are caused by heavy rainfall, and we don't have the infrastructure to offset some of these damages. So one of the most important things, if I'm elected, that I want to be able to work on is how to offset some of the impacts of climate change, whether that means improving the infrastructure of housing or municipal buildings, and just making sure that our residents feel safe in their communities.
Thank you. Mr. Jaffrey?
Hi, again, my name is Syed Irfan Jaffrey. My biggest concerns are traffic. I'm not really sure how we can handle that, but I would get with the county more to see what we can do with that. Of course, the roads, and I know the state is doing working on our potholes. Recycling. The flooding is also an issue. My basin has flooded a few times when I lived over by Haggerty and Ford Road. I'm over by the township offices now, but we still have a lot of water. From what I understand, the major issue is, aside from climate change, is the creek is not cleaned up enough. I know the county is responsible for that, but there has to be something we can do about that. I also look at getting a bigger water park. My kids go to the splash pad here, and they prefer the Westland Water Park. I can't say I blame them, and that's all I have to say about that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Harris.
I think some of the biggest issues we've had are some of the issues we've had for years, and obviously traffic. We have some issues with Ford Road and Michigan Ave, but the flooding, I think, is part of an issue that we can handle by doing some different plantings. I think we need more rain gardens. I think just trying to have Wayne County fix all our problems never works out well. I think we need to do a few things as residents and as a township. And I think there's things we can do through those plantings and things like that. We also have to look forward to our waste management issues here in Canton, and hopefully we can figure out a way to improve that. Thank you.
Mr. Grable?
Yeah, I think some major issues with Canton right now are age-old issues. I think our roads definitely need repair. There's still plenty of potholes on our roads that need more money to fill them. And what it takes to fill potholes, it is money. Canton has a composting program that I don't believe is being used very well. I think that's a program that we cut from our budget and money fueled to other places. Canton residents should not have to be going to Westland to enjoy services that can be provided in Canton and that are not good enough. We should be putting more money into our parks, and our splash pads, into our roads. Another huge issue is Ford Road. It's one of the most dangerous roads in all of Michigan. It's definitely the most dangerous road in Canton. And I think our township should be doing more to handle that.
Thank you. Ms. Foster?
So the events of the tornadoes and flooding in 2023 have underscored the profound interconnection between sustainability and infrastructure. The winds and rains not only caused structural damage, but led to extensive flooding affecting roads and residents. With the escalating climate crisis, the severe weather occurrences are becoming more frequent. It's imperative to adopt a collaborative regional strategy involving various governmental bodies to address infrastructure challenges and secure funding for necessary repairs. Additionally, emphasizing energy autonomy and integrated climate change considerations into our public policy framework is crucial. Additionally, as far as infrastructure goes, the roads are an issue, and we have fixed 40 lane miles of road, but there is much more to go, including Ford Road and doing some intersection improvements.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Foster. And Ms. Ganguly?
I think what we have seen these days is with the 100-year floods happening in every 2 years or even every year or so, I think flooding has become the main issue, and the infrastructure investment needed in that is probably very crucial. We need to be working with collaborating with our regional partners in improving our drains, and we have been already working with that with our Army Corps of Engineers to do a drain survey of the flooding survey. And I also think that the climate change issue is very crucial to our community, and infrastructure gets affected because of that issue. And that is one of the reasons we need to go on improving our sustainability in our community. We need to work on, not making more recycling options, so that things like that can really help with the sustainability of the community, because we only have limited space.
Thank you. We'll start this next question with Ms. Ansari. Does growth need to be controlled in Canton? And if so, what is your approach to controlling it?
Can you define growth, please? In this context?
I think it's whatever you want it to be. It was asked by one of our citizens. It came in through our website.
So if we're talking about economic growth, I would say Canton has the lowest tax rates in Wayne County. And we have been able to prevent the increase in tax rates because we've received a lot of funding in partnership and collaboration with the county, the state, and federal ARPA dollars for various improvement and infrastructure projects. So whether that's Cherry Hill Village Square or other, or road improvements or sidewalk improvements, I don't think that growth needs to be controlled. I think what we can do is to plan in such a way that we can build a sustainable economy that, number one, prioritizes sustainable and renewable energies, and also recognizes the local talent that can actually help bring more businesses and bring more growth to our economy.
Thank you. Mr. Jaffrey?
Hi, my name is Syed Jaffrey. I don't think we should limit growth, but it can be managed. A lot of our growth right now seems to be residential housing. I would like to see more affordable housing in Canton. A lot of our people work outside of the township, and they travel distances, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 miles or more. I would like to see more businesses, larger businesses in Canton Township itself. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Harris?
Well, I think, I've seen a lot of growth in Canton in the 30 years that I've been here, and it's all been good, basically. I mean, of course, we run into some issues here and there. I think infrastructure is our biggest issue in Canton with growth. I mean, we all want a bigger, more fun, more things to do, all those things, but we got to make sure we can maintain it. We got to make sure that we can afford to maintain it and make sure that we're doing it correctly, which, we've done various jobs at that throughout the years, some better than others. And I just think we need to keep our eye on the ball when it comes to that. And a lot of times we like to run out there and show people what we can do, but then we have to come back and go, okay, now we have to make sure that this is still a viable thing in 10, 20, 30 years. So I would focus mostly on infrastructure when it comes to growth. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Grable?
No, I don't see growth being an issue for our township. As others have said, I think infrastructure is the issue, and planning is also the issue. We should be building down Michigan Avenue and not putting so much businesses on Ford Road. To my understanding, the township board recently approved coding ordinance changes for Topgolf and as well as Chick-fil-A. I would like to see more businesses open on Michigan Avenue, since that is a less congested area, as well as we should open more and bring more businesses in to open more apartments and townhomes for more affordable housing. Thanks.
Thank you. Ms. Foster?
I think if the community isn't growing, then it's dying. And we don't want that to happen in Canton Township. I think growth is good. I think people wanting to come to our community is a good thing. I think businesses wanting to come to our community is a good thing. As we're going through the master plan process, one of the things that we're looking at is not only how to update our ordinances and our zoning, but also looking at making sure that Canton is a place that young people can come to, and make sure that Canton is a place where people can afford to live. And so I don't see growth as a bad thing. I think infrastructure has to keep up with the growth. But like I said to begin with, if you're not growing, you're dying.
Thank you, Ms. Ganguly.
I think growth is always a good thing when if you're planning growth in a planned process, and I think that is the most important part. We don't want more businesses on Michigan Avenue that to make Michigan Avenue look like another Ford Road. That was one of the reason we are investing in something called Michigan Avenue Information Network, and we are working collaboratively with our regional partners all along Michigan Avenue so that we can bring in more public-private partnerships. We can work on bringing some educational institutions so that our youth can be trained properly. And definitely housing growth is happening, but at the same time, I think businesses are also happening in Canton. They're growing too, and that basically means that Canton is a thriving community, because if a community doesn't thrive, it doesn't really it really, everything else dies with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Grunke.
Yes, talking about the growth in our community itself, look at it in two separate phases. One would obviously be the residential, and the other would be the business community. We've talked about both of them. And from the residential side, we see a number of projects going in that we have had to somewhat change the zoning to facilitate and increase density in certain areas, which sometimes goes against a little bit of what the township was put together. And we need to sort of control that. Growth is good for homes. We need the folks. But on the business side, I've talked to a number of business owners that have wanted to make changes, and it seems like we have a hard time getting changes done, whether it's inspections or approvals. And sometimes that just puts a bad taste in a new business owner's mouth when they have to jump through so many hoops and wait such a long time to get things approved. It does stifle things a little bit. So
thank you. Thank you. Mr. Jeffrey, we'll start this next question with you. What are your thoughts about traffic congestion, and how do you feel about roundabouts?
So traffic congestion, I think pretty much everyone's going to agree is a problem. I live not too far from Ford Road. I go every day to Ann Arbor the other way on Ford Road. Fortunately, I start work at 3 p.m. and I work till 3 a.m. So traffic is not a big deal for me unless I'm going to anywhere on Ford Road around 4 or 5 p.m., which, is just a huge hassle. I understand there's a huge overhaul of Ford Road. So that should alleviate a lot of the problems once we go through the, how do we say it properly, the heck of the next 3 or 4 years while it's being constructed. So I don't think that's a major problem. I would like to see if we can get another on-ramp off of 275. But I do agree with somebody else said earlier that we should get more businesses over to Michigan Avenue to alleviate some of that traffic congestion on Ford Road.
Thank you. Mr. Harris?
Yeah, as far as traffic, I think a community this size is always going to have traffic issues. I live on Cherry Hill Road, so I get to see it every day when people are stopped in front of my driveway, not letting me out. It's not appreciated, but we have to live with what we have to live with. I think Ford Road, once we get that to a place where people don't mind going down Ford Road, it'll alleviate a lot of the side street traffic, because a lot of the traffic we have is people trying not to drive down Ford Road because they don't like it, or not taking Michigan Ave because they don't like that. As far as roundabouts, we've got to get used to it. I think they're, helpful. Yeah, and it's just something we're gonna have to live with. But yeah, I think once we clear up the Ford Road issue, I think a lot of those other issues will just fall to the wayside. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Grable?
The congestion in this township is bad. Everyone's gonna say it, everyone knows it. There's not a whole lot we could do once we wait for Ford Road. I am pro roundabout, so I would put in more roundabouts in areas that could use them, especially areas that do not have stoplights. There's just 4 ways right now. Those areas could use roundabouts to speed up congestion in those areas. And I believe they're noticeably safer for townships as well. Thanks.
Thank you. Ms. Foster?
So this is one of my favorite topics. I actually ran for township board in 2016 because I was concerned about traffic, and because And that's the reason why I served on the Roads Advisory Committee. We studied Ford Road like nobody's business. And one of the things that MDOT said was that we could not put another exit or entrance in another spot in Canton Township. That was one of the things that we considered. But I am excited about roundabouts. We're about to get the second roundabout in Wayne County, in Canton Township at Sheldon and Palmer Road. I think we need more of them. Wayne County was slow to approve them, but now I think we've got them on board. They are substantially safer. And one thing about Ford Road to mention is that zoning limited what we could do on the eastern portion of Ford Road east of 275. And I think you'll see some changes there, which I think will alleviate traffic west of 275 on Ford Road.
Thank you. Ms. Ganguly?
Yes, traffic in a growing community is always an issue, and we probably are getting used to the traffic coming back again after post-COVID, and now we see the community being up to what it used to be pre-COVID. And the traffic is, in a growing community will always be there. We can promote a few things that we are doing. We are working on having some sort of a micro transit in the community that can help with some of the traffic, but I also think the Ford Road Boulevard construction would help with this. And I have statistically seen that roundabouts are one of the safest ways to go around communities. And I really love roundabouts. And I am excited that one of our first roundabouts in Canton Township is coming to, I think, Palmer and Sheldon, and I would like to have them, because sometimes taking a left with where there is a no left turn sign causes a lot of issues and a lot of accidents.
Thank you. Mr. Grunke?
Definitely, yes. If the consensus of Ford Road has been there for a long time. With our growth, it continues to be an issue. The Ford Road project, as MDOT has laid out, seems to be quite an undertaking, which will take a little bit of education time once it's completed for everybody to get used to it, which is fine, but it will alleviate a lot of the traffic accident issues. The world of roundabouts, if you've been all over the place, you've seen a lot of roundabouts. The biggest thing about roundabouts is making sure that you have adequate space to put it in correctly. Instead of squeezing it in where it shouldn't be, you need to give it enough room to work so the traffic does flow. If it is too close, the traffic will still bunch up.
Thank you. Ms. Ansari?
Yeah, so I love the idea of roundabouts, specifically because they're not just great for reducing congestion, they also support safety in community and reduce overall maintenance and operational costs. So if we're looking at it from a budgetary perspective, it's also supportive in that way. We understand and we're blessed to know that Canton Township is expanding and growing, and there are so many more families that are moving. So it's not just about Ford Road, but about how people are able to move from one side of Canton to the other. And so constructions of roundabouts in, say, Sheldon and Palmer, where there are 4 or 8-way stop signs, I can't even remember anymore, is great because it helps us to navigate our township in a better way. And yeah, I mean, I think that the roundabouts are a great way to, again, not just improve our budgetary responsibility around maintenance and operational costs, but also it's safer and it reduces congestion.
Thank you. We'll start this next question with Mr. Harris. This is also about growth, but is more specific this time. What is your plan to control the growth of rental properties in neighborhoods? And you may choose to say you don't think it's a problem. That's okay. But the question that we received, apparently the person who asked felt it was a problem. So what is your plan to control the growth of rental properties in the neighborhoods? Mr. Harris?
Well, I think we have to be careful when we're talking about people's rights. When you have a property and being able to rent that property, I think that's a right as an American. You should be able to. Now, whether we're going to limit how many in a certain area, I know we included when we hired our previous building inspector, we started a rental property inspection, which I think was a great idea, because I don't mind rental properties. What I don't want to see is unsustained rental kept rental properties that are bringing down values in good neighborhoods. So I believe homeowners associations help reduce that. They don't let certain areas won't let it in their area. So it's kind of touchy, you know, I want to make sure that the Canton residents get to do what they want with their properties, but I also want to make sure our property values stay high where they're at because we have a great township. And I guess that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Grable?
Personally, me, I don't see this as a problem. Homeowners, I would allow them to rent their house out if they want. You know, I think if the issue is you know, lowering home values, I think if we just maintain the ordinance for the homes, I think we'll maintain home values. To me, I wouldn't really do a whole lot for this problem.
Thank you. Ms. Foster?
I don't really see this as an issue. I think property owners have rights as property owners, and if they want to rent out their property, they should be able to. I do believe in a strong inspection process, and I think that that is key. And I think it is also key to make sure that we are enforcing our ordinances, whether it's property upkeep or noise or things like that. That's imperative, but I do think that property owners have rights.
Thank you. Ms. Ganguly? Ms. Ganguly, can you hear me? Oh, you're muted. There you go.
Thank you. I think rental properties is not an issue. Sometimes we need to have people come and live in our community, and it's totally prerogative to the homeowners as whether they want to rent their properties or not, and it is their right to do that. I think homeowners associations within our community have their own bylaws, which helps to maintain and upkeep everyone's property in that community. And we have a strong inspection process that is available. So I think that should not curtail our homeowners for renting their properties. If we have ordinances, we have bylaws in the homeowners association, that's really, I've never heard that is an issue. Rental property is an issue as long as we follow our rules and ordinances.
Thank you. Mr. Gronke?
I tend to agree. The rental properties, as long as they're kept up. I had an experience with some folks around the corner that were actually out of state and out of country owners of a home, and the property did suffer a great deal. And when they came back to remove the tenants, they found the house was almost destroyed. And so we do need to be able to keep an eye on it, so to speak, whether it's through inspections or homeowner accountability. That would probably help a little bit, but rentals are just a way of life. People can do it. People get transferred in and transferred out, and they may not be here for more than a year or two. So they may need that rental, and this is a great community to do it in.
Thank you. Ms. Ansari?
So I myself am a renter. As a 30-year-old newlywed, I'm not at a stage, despite having living in a 2-income household, where I can even afford to own a home. The reality of many folks now is that homeownership has become more of a dream than a potential reality because the cost of everything has increased so much. So we need to also recognize that there is this other side of the equation, which is that just the cost of everything is just so expensive now, and that for many people, renting is the only option to receive affordable housing. That being said, I do think that, you know, as my colleagues have mentioned here, right, homeowners have rights as well. My parents own a home here in Canton as well. So it's important to understand that HOAs and these inspection processes are going to be key in ensuring that the values of our homes don't deflate.
Thank you. And Mr. Jaffrey?
So I guess the consensus is that homeowners have rights, and as a homeowner living down the street from somebody who purchased a home just to rent it, He ran into some trouble with our HOA because we had a rule of you have to try and sell the house for a year before you can rent it out. The house was trashed. Every 3 or 4 months, every 6 months, somebody would move in, somebody would move out. There'd be carpeting, trash, dog house out in the driveway for several, maybe not a week or two, but several days on end. I personally am against it, but again, if I own my house and as long as I'm following the rules, I should be able to rent it. Maybe a higher standard for inspections for rental homes. Make sure that the trash doesn't stay out on the street or on the driveway for several days. But I guess I would be pro. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Grable will start this next one with you. What ideas do you have to mitigate noise pollution due to traffic?
Noise pollution due to traffic. That's a great question. Honestly, I live off of Haggerty and Palmer, and I don't have a whole lot of noise pollution in my area. In my opinion, I'm not sure if there's a whole lot the township could do. So I don't really think I have any ideas for this one.
Ms. Foster?
I think one of the things that you can do in high density areas or places where there's a lot of traffic is to make sure that you're planting trees. Trees act as a natural noise buffer. You can also make sure that like the sizing of the houses and things like that, they're not too high. So you are limiting limiting the noise that folks are hearing. But I think trees are great. We should plant more trees.
Thank you. Ms. Ganguly?
Yes, I think though, as my colleague said, that the trees are the best way to mitigate noise pollution. As that's the best way we can mitigate noise pollution in the community. And in high traffic areas, all we can do is, build, have more spaces where we can plant trees rather than filling it up with concrete. Having more green spaces in those areas can help us plant more trees, and that is, I think, the only way we can reduce noise pollution due to traffic.
Thank you. Mr. Gronke?
It is true, trees do inhibit the travel of the sound of traveling. Also, in some of the newer communities that are being built, being able to set up some bermage that would at least bring that level of sound deadening a little bit higher. And then, you still may have trees and shrubbery on top of that, but a solid barrier like a hill or a mound does alleviate a lot of ground noise very quickly. To my neighborhood, I wish we could sort of stop some of the drag racing that goes down in my neighborhood, but that's an individual case.
Thank you. Ms. Ansari?
Yeah, I think as other folks have already said, planting trees is a great way to mitigate some of the noise dispersion. And also, I would be careful about the idea of implementing more noise ordinances, because we want to think about whether we're impeding on First Amendment or religious rights, and what that might look like. So besides planting trees and being careful about and very intentional about future developments, I think that's the best we can do.
Thank you. Mr. Jaffrey?
So I lived on Pheasant Creek over by Haggerty. There was a lot of highway noise. I wonder if we couldn't put up some, I don't know what they're called, the walls next to the highways to help mitigate some of that noise pollution. Also, road surfaces could be looked at to see cars traveling at higher speeds. Some of the concrete makes more noise than asphalt. Trees and berms, I'm all for as well.
Thank you. Mr. Harris?
But like everyone else, especially being the president of the Canton Nature Society, I'm all about trees and bushes. The berms are also a good idea. What I think we could do is lower some of the speed limits on some of the bigger roads that keeps people from taking their cars wide open and really causing the sound. I think the highway walls are a bit pricey for what we want to do. And straight roads, the more curves you have in a road, if we keep building straight roads, people will keep going real fast down them. So we put some curves and some roundabouts and we can get people to slow down. I think it's going to mitigate the noise a little bit. Other than that, yeah, let's plant trees. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Foster, we'll start this next question with you. What plans should the Board of Trustees have to make the library experience in Canton better?
So as former vice chair of the library board, I can tell you that the library is a separate entity of government than the township board. And so we don't have very much control over what they do at the library, but we do partner with the library on lots of events, cultural events, things like that. We work with Eva Davis on the cultural committee. We work with them on the Know Your Neighbor activities, the CCIC. And so, you know, we can do more partnerships with the library, but they are a separate governmental entity with their own funding stream. And so there's not much we can do there.
Thank you. Ms. Ganguly?
Can you quickly repeat the question for me, please?
Sure. What plans should the township participate in to improve the library experience?
So the library, as Ms. Foster said, that library is a totally separate entity from the township board. What we can do for improving the experience is we can do different programming with the library in collaboration, and we can use the library space for, you know, to hold some great discussions about the community. We can use the library, you know, we can have some programming that we can do in collaboration and promote the library in our in different programmings that we do, and we definitely do that. And I think we have a great library in our community, and all I can say is we make use of that library in every way possible.
Thank you. Mr. Gronke?
The library itself, and I actually use the library at least once or twice a week to meet clients. And I see the amount of different groups of people that come in, from young to old, to all sorts of folks that come in there. And yes, it is a separate entity, but we can reach out to our local community to help them to interact better with the library and let the folks know what good things our library does have.
Thanks. Ms. Ansari?
Yeah, so as a reminder, there are also library board elections. So just wanted to put that plug in there because again, it is a separate entity. And, you know, since I've lived here for the past 8 years, you know, I would even take my sister to the library. I think it's such a great space, and there is opportunity for the township to partner and to work with the library, particularly to work on cultural events and to use the library as a community gathering space. So yeah, I mean, just again, like, let's remember that there's also a library board election this time around.
Thank you. Mr. Jaffrey?
So the more educated population is, I believe the better it is. I have 2 young girls, 10-year-old twins. We go to the library once a week. We get a bunch of books. They have their iPads. They're limited on screen time. So we do go to the library as often as we can. They love the experience. As a township, we could promote the library more, maybe a better signage. But again, it is a separate institution.
Thank you. Mr. Harris?
Same as everyone else. I'm sure Summer could tell you that, like, our library is one of the best libraries around. I don't care what anybody says. We have a great library. Partnerships with any group, including the library, is always good. So more partnerships, the better. But yeah, I think we have a great library. There's no reason that we should think that we can improve that. But anyway.
Thank you. And Mr. Grable?
I think our library is great as well. My family would go to the library quite often. My son, he loves to run through the children's aisles. They also have children's play area there. So it's a great time for us. To improve the library experience, I think we fall on the library board, but you know, we could promote more of what the library is doing in the Focus newsletter. It's a great way to reach out to our citizens. And we could always put add an extra section in there for any new things that's going on in the library.
Thank you. Ms. Ganguly, we'll start this next question with you. What is your opinion about taxing residents to cover the costs of road repair or replacement in the township?
So when we talk about infrastructure funding in our community, we have to remember we are a township and our roads are county roads, and the county has, I think the county probably has 46 communities that they have to invest in the infrastructure of the roads. And so I think in 2018, we passed a road millage that really works on improving our local roads. And that has helped in improving the PACER ratings of our roads and compared to the neighboring communities. And I think investing our local money in our local roads is a good thing. That way we can help our homeowners, different homeowners associations. We have worked with the homeowners association in improving their roads. We are working on getting funding to fix the ASR in different homeowners association. So I think using our local dollars for our local roads is a good thing.
Thank you, Mr. Gronke.
I definitely agree with Tanya. It is a local thing for us on the subdivisions, and being able to give us a decent set of roads coming in and out to the regular roads that are not controlled by the township itself. We do have the funds to do it, and it is being done currently, which is a great thing. And we can continue. We have a lot of roads to work with.
Thank you, Ms. Ansari.
Yeah, we already have a roads tax, and so like Tanya has mentioned already, there are many roads across our township that are owned or run by the county. In the past, we've also received federal and state dollars to support the building out of our infrastructure. And so I think the first thing to do is to make sure that we are continuing to work with the state and the county to build out any roads or fix any roads that need improving. And then when it comes to our local roads, using our tax that is meant for the roads to fix them.
Thank you. Mr. Jaffrey?
So I understand that we pay taxes and road taxes to the state and to the county. I believe that those entities should be responsible to fix and pay for the roads, because we are paying those taxes already. I did vote against the millage. Having said that, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. If the county is not stepping up, then hopefully our money will go. It will be well spent.
Thank you. Mr. Harris?
Sorry, I was muted. Yeah, we've been stuck between a rock and a hard place when it comes to roads. I mean, we're a township, so we don't do roads. And we did pass the millage to cover the roads, which I didn't love, but we don't love the roads here either, I mean, so what do? Pay more in taxes or continue to fix our rims and tires? Well, when it comes to some of the other issues we've talked about, that's a good way to slow people down, giant potholes, so that'll help with the noise. But yeah, I don't know. It's always been a difficult thing. We do our best. Every board that's come before us has done their best, and we'll continue to fight that fight, I guess. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Grable?
Yeah, I think the road millage is a great thing. I do understand that the county controls a lot of the roads in Canton Township, but we should be pushing the county harder than we are now to fix those roads. Clearly, people in Canton are not happy with the county. The Board of Trustees should make it known that we also are not happy with the county and the way they're handling the roads. I think our subdivisions, the roads they do need repaired. And I think once we repair those roads, it's imperative that we make sure that those roads are repaired correctly and we're repairing them in the correct spaces. The roads that are worse off need to have higher priority. And if there's a road that becomes worse off than the one that was already scheduled, this should take priority ahead of the other ones.
Thank you. Ms. Foster?
So as the board representative of the roads task force, I was in favor of the roads millage, and I helped work to make sure that we pass it and make sure that we implement it correctly. One of the things that we found when we did that work was we had a $220 a $220 million roads issue in Canton that we did not have the funding to fix. And the $3 or so million that we were getting from the county every year was not enough to address that. And so we passed the millage, and in doing so, we were able to bring the county to the table to invest more resources in our community, and the state of Michigan to the table to invest more resources into our community to fix roads. And we've done about 100 roads projects in Canton over the last 5-6 years, and we've fixed 40 lane miles of road.
Thank you. We have one more question before we get to our closing statements, and Mr. Grunke, we'll start this one with you. Are you concerned with the rising cost of housing within the township? Do you believe it is hindering the ability of younger people and families to live in Canton Township? If yes, is there any way that you as a board member could address this?
I think it is definitely can be a hindrance to folks coming in, and just as Amara said, it's sometimes, even if you're a 2-income family, it's tough to find a home. On the other side is that the home values have gone up, and we still are going up, and it's just not in Canton, it's all over. I don't know that we can control it. I don't think that it's nice. I enjoy the fact that my house is worth more than I paid for 25 years ago. But it's part of the growth, and we're still a growing community. People are still wanting to be part of the Canton community, and that's a good thing.
Thank you. Ms. Ansari?
Yeah, one thing that's really amazing about Canton is we are in one of the strongest school districts in the entire state, which supports such high property values. Now, I think that, yes, this is more of a federal issue, the cost of housing overall. What I can say, though, is we can work at a local level to see how we can support our workers, our families, to increase our wages, to ensure that they can begin to afford homes if that is the path that they wish to take. So workers' rights, fair working conditions are going to be a strong path to ensuring that people can afford housing. Again, like, Jeff even referred to it, I'm a renter myself, and I don't see myself owning a home anytime soon. But, being a candidate who supports union rights and fair wages, I think it's important that we tackle this issue differently.
Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Jaffrey?
So the median price of a home in Canton, 4-bedroom, is $500,000. Prices have gone crazy. A lot of that, of course, is due to the situation around this COVID and low interest rates a few years ago. I'm also a real estate agent on the side for my friends and relatives. So I've seen prices just skyrocket, and I love it when my house prices go up, but I hate it when I get that the tax form as, oh, your taxes have gone up $2,000 this year. I just bought my house, so it was uncapped, so my house price went up significantly, or the taxes went up significantly. So supply and demand. If we could build more affordable housing, more younger, even single earning or dual earning couples can move into Canton. I'd hate to have only 50 and above in Canton, because that's the only time that you can afford a house here in Canton. So affordable housing.
Thank you. Mr. Harris?
Well, we've tried making affordable housing, like Cherry Hill Village originally had some small bungalows that were going to be more affordable, and the market just drives the prices up. I don't think we're going to have much choice. We're a place that people want to be. So I think we're going to be a second home community. Like, we're going to have some starter homes, obviously, but I think we're going to be a feeder or be fed by other communities where people want to move to this area and come from. I mean, my first home was in somewhere else, and then I had to move here, and I waited and wanted to come here, and it's just part of life.
Thank you. Mr. Grable?
Yeah, I think this is an excellent question. Last year, my wife and I, we were looking at houses in Canton. We were originally renters over on Cherry Hill, and then we were looking for houses in Canton. It took us 15 months. We put in, I think it was around 15 to 20 offers, and only one of them hit. And when you're not a homeowner, it's really unfortunate when you see house prices go up. But once you become a homeowner, it's not really so much the issue anymore. It's a positive. This is a national issue. It's been known that houses were underbuilt since 2008. We just need to build more houses. It's a national issue. It's a federal government issue and it's a state government issue. There's not a whole lot the local governments could do. If the Federal Reserve cuts interest rates, maybe next year home affordability will be better. But I don't think this is an issue that's going to be solved anytime soon, or definitely not by local governments.
Thank you. Ms. Foster.
Yes, I think it's an issue. I think we need to do more to bring affordable housing to Canton Township. I think we can look at apartments. I think we can look at condos. I think we can look at zoning requirements, that we don't need to require an acre for every piece of property. We can look at things like that to downzone and make sure that we are building smaller places where people can afford to live. I think we have to bring young people into this community. I think we have to bring folks who are just starting out into this community. Those are the folks that are going to send their kids to our schools and help our community overall. And invest in this community. Young people have a lot of disposable income, and I think we need to prioritize that.
Thank you. Ms. Ganguly.
Yeah, I think 20 years ago when I moved to Canton and I bought my first home ever in my life, things were not this expensive. We were able to afford our first home in Canton, and things have gone exponentially higher in the last 5 to 10 years. And yes, we definitely need some sort of an affordable housing options in Canton, like condos or apartments. And we need to look into that, and we can use our ordinance changes to implement that.
Thank you. Thank you all. We're now ready to begin our closing statements, and Ms. Foster, we'll start with you first on that.
Thank you. I'm honored by the trust that Canton residents have placed in me for the last 8 years. Our achievements have been the result of collaboration, dedication, and hard work. They are a testament to what we can accomplish together. As trustees, we act as legislators. Governing requires more than just good ideas. It involves understanding systems, processes, and building relationships to realize a vision. Canton residents deserve no less than that. I've worked as a legislative policy advocate and a nonprofit executive director. I have worked with policy leaders at all levels of government, and I sit on 2 major committees for the township, both planning and roads. I'm running for re-election to continue building high-quality infrastructure, to promote sustainability, to protect green space, and to invest in public safety. Together, we can create a community where everyone thrives, where each story is valued, and where our shared vision becomes a reality. I hope to earn your vote on August 6th or before. And to learn more about me, please visit summerfoster.com.
Thank you. Mr. Grable?
Yeah, thanks everyone. I'm Tyler Grable. Thank you for having me. I want to thank the League of Women Voters for holding this forum. I think it was a great thing. Voters need to hear everyone's ideas and hear what everyone's saying. Being in Canton for 3 years and then going to be here for decades to come, Canton has a lot of potential, a lot of growth potential. It's a great community to live in. It's a great community to grow in. And the board really needs to maintain that. We need to maintain our infrastructure. We need to improve on it. We need to improve on the spaces that our residents use, like the splash pads in the parks. And voting for me, those are my priorities. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Harris?
Yeah, thank you. And thank you to the League of Women Voters for organizing this forum and for allowing all us candidates to have this opportunity. I hate to sound like a broken record, but I feel like my 27 years of experience gives me the unique opportunity as a linchpin between the employee group and the board that no other candidate can. This will allow the board to avoid some of the pitfalls and dead ends we've faced in the past. I've been through all of them. I've seen them all come and go. I know where to go on a lot of these issues. And I think having someone with that past with the staff, it's one thing to get the community to buy in, but you also need to get the township staff to buy in. And I think that's where I would help greatly. I appreciate everything. And hopefully I get your vote on August 6th. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Jaffrey?
Hi, my name is Syed Irfan Jaffrey, running for trustee, and I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for bringing us together. I'd like to remind everybody that I'm a husband, father. I've got 3 daughters, a son. We've been in Canton for almost 25 years. My extended family is here. I've got about 25 first cousins, their husbands and wives, their parents, their children here living in Canton. I've got military experience. I was civil servant for 13 years at the city of Detroit. Homeowners Association president, small business owner. I've been a renter here in Canton. I've owned my own house for over 20 years. I have extensive experience in running a small business, and I'd like for you to vote for me for trustee. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Ansari?
Thanks so much to the League of Women Voters for putting this together. It's such an honor to have this space with all of you. So as the development director of a nonprofit and as someone who has been doing community organizing work for the past 8 years, and as someone who has partnered with both elected officials and civil servants at all levels of government, I believe that I have what it takes to serve our community. And my goals include making sure that our township is sustainable, that we're able to bridge the gap between the information gap between our residents and our local township, and that we build out our infrastructure in a sustainable way. So I'm asking for your vote on or by August 6th, and I'm looking forward to seeing you out there. You can visit my Instagram page at Amara for Canton, or my website, amaraforcanton.com, or see my Facebook page at Friends to Elect Amara Ansari. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Mr. Gronke?
Yes, once again, my name is Jeff Gronke, and I do appreciate the League of Women Voters hosting us tonight. The part about being part of our community is really what's driving this. As a trustee, we work for 98,000 plus residents of the community, and also for the several thousand individual business owners that are here. And it is my goal to really be more an integral part of that, to be a liaison between all of those factions to our Canton government, to really help them to understand the needs of our growing community, whether it's housing, whether it's roads, whether it's infrastructure. We really need to be able to be a voice for the people and help the people to understand. So that is the platform that I'm working on. I love Canton. I have the time to dedicate most all of my time to being part of the trustee. So once again, Jeff Gronke.
Thank you. And Ms. Ganguly?
Thanks to the League of Women Voters for inviting me to this forum. I am Tanya Ganguly, and I have served as your Canton Township Trustee for the last 4 years. I serve on the Election Commission, the Technology Committee, and the Cultural Commission as vote representative. I wanted to reiterate my priorities for Canton to having more community conversation, improving on the public health of the community by working to expand our sidewalks, green spaces, and Summit on the Park, and working on welcoming diverse and locally owned businesses to our community, especially at Cherry Hill Village Square, to make Canton a regional destination. To continue with my work and advocate for you, I ask for your support on or before August 6th. Please vote for me on or before August 6th, Tanya Ganguly for trustee. And to know more about my platform, please go to my website, tanyaforcantontrustee.com. It's Tanya 4 cantontrustee.com. Thank you.
Well, thank you, everyone. Besides these trustee candidates who appeared here tonight, 3 others will appear on the Republican ballot on August 6th. John Anthony, Marco Cozina, and Leander Richmond. 1 other candidate will appear on the Democratic ballot, Kate Borninski, who had to bow out suddenly tonight because of illness. We thank the candidates who are running for office. They are asking for voter support as they seek a job in the public service sector, and we hope the voters will listen to their views. We also appreciate the voters in Canton who are watching this forum to learn about their choices on Tuesday, August 6th. This forum has been recorded and can soon be viewed on the League's website, lwvnorthwestwayne.org. Please note that the ownership of this recording or transcript resides with the League of Women Voters of Northwest Wayne County. The candidates or their supporters may not use portions of the forum or any audio clips, video clips, or transcripts for political advertising or other purposes without the written permission of the League of Women Voters of Northwest Wayne County. All of these candidates were also invited to participate in the League of Women Voters Voter Guide, a publication that you can access online by visiting vote411.org. And as we mentioned earlier, that will go live on Friday, the 28th. The League of Women Voters is providing this forum as an opportunity for candidates to express their views related to their candidacy. Statements expressed by the candidates are not endorsed or opposed by the League of Women Voters. And also, the League of Women Voters does not certify any candidate responses to questions as accurate. Voters are encouraged to fact check information shared at the forum. Election Day is August 6th. If you are not registered to vote, you can do so up through Election Day. Within 14 days of the election, registration must be done at the office of the Canton Township Clerk. The polls are open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Election Day, August 6th. But all registered voters can also vote early or by absentee ballot. If you are voting by absentee ballot and have not already requested to be on the permanent absentee ballot list, you'll need to fill out an application first. If you need an absentee ballot application, you can get one at the Township Clerk's office or at the Canton Township's website. Voters in Michigan can also vote early in Michigan now. At early voting locations, voters will have the opportunity to vote and insert their own ballot into the tabulator, just as they would on Election Day. For the August election, early voting is open 9 consecutive days from 8:30 to 4:30, beginning Saturday, July 27th, and ending Sunday, August 4th, at 2 locations in Canton Township: Summit on the Park at 46,000 Summit Parkway, and at the Village Art Factory at 50755 Cherry Hill Road. We thank the candidates again who were here tonight for participating, and we appreciate your being here and wish you best of luck at the August 6th election. Thank you very much. Good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.